I mean, a couple of them were division series, but as far as the wild card game go, yeah, we've had a tough time with it. And you know what? It's frustrating. They got off to a good start, obviously, with the home run, and then ended up adding on, and we just didn't do enough offensively tonight. You do have to give them credit. They pitched really well.
Other questions for Bob? Ron, we'll get you the mic.
Not just for Hendricks in a bullpen game, but for any
Right.
game, is especially a postseason game, falling behind in the count early, does that become deadly?
Oh, well, falling behind in the game, yeah. I mean, you have a chance to recover if you're behind in the count, but yeah, it is. I mean, the first run's big, and when you're when you're away and you get the crowd into it, that's more that you have to overcome. Now, we settled in pretty good, and Trevino came in, did a nice job, and it remains 2-0 for a while. So, we felt pretty good about if we get some good at bats together, and then we have first and second, nobody out, and Betances comes in and strikes out. Ends up getting out of it, and we don't score. So that's another one we have to overcome. But certainly, when they score first, especially in their ballpark, it gives them some momentum.
To your right, Bob. Brian.
Before the game, Bob, you were talking about the atmosphere and the role
Right.
it could play. How do you think, or what kind of role do you think it did play, and did it have any effect on Hendricks in that first?
You know what? He threw quite a few pitches there early on, obviously with the home run, and kind of extended things. But, early in the game, they're going to be loud. It's our job to try to take them out of it, and we didn't in the first inning. But we're able to, like I said, to kind of settle in. But this is a tough ballpark to play in. I mean, it's going to be loud. It's Yankee Stadium, and it's sometimes it's difficult to overcome that. But I thought after we got through the first and settled in a little bit, our bats would get better and we'd get back in it. We just didn't do it.
First row on your left, Julian.
Bob, you talked about after an off day that sometimes you guys don't put together the quality at bats. Did you see that today from the club?
No, because we did have a workout yesterday, so they kind of settled into the routine. They got the ground balls. They took BP. Everybody was actually probably needed the off day first, but then when you have an off, when you have a workout day where you get to do your baseball activity, I don't think it's like going through a full off day.
And we'll stay right there, John.
Bob, if I believe Trinan pitched the sixth inning for the first time this year, and Trevino pitched the second inning for the first time this year. If that was all possible, was there thought during the season in early September when you first started doing this to put those guys in those roles so that they would be more familiar in this atmosphere?
Well, we did with Lou. We had Lou start that one game. I believe it was in Anaheim. So we were trying to get him acclimated to maybe an earlier inning role. And then as far as Trinan goes, we just got to get our best in there at that time. They knew everything was kind of up for grabs tonight, depending on what the situation of the game was. So, we're not going to do that with Trinan earlier in the year. But, the point in time in the game, we're trying to cut it off.
Ron,
How did, in your opinion, this whole system go? It's never been done in the postseason, reliever after reliever after reliever.
You know what? Like I said, after the first inning, we settled in pretty well, and then they ended up having a big inning. We offensively, we have to put a little more pressure on them, so we're not in that spot where you have to bring in Trinan in that situation. But you have to give them credit; they pitched really well, and like I said, Severino got off to a good start, and Betances came in and shut it down, and after that, other than the one swing from KD, they just shut a really good offense down.
And Ron, first row.
How do you assess the season, despite you had probably more pitching injuries than any other team, have team's best record in 16 years, overcome that, but then suddenly cut short after one?
Well, yeah, unless you play the last game, it's disappointing. So, I think when you reflect back and look where we started the year, kind of where we came from, it ends up being a good year, but it doesn't feel good right now.
Anything else for Bob? Barry, last one.
Another element of this is that I think the Yankees have won 9 out of their last 11, and they've scored 72 runs. So you ran into them at a time when they were really hitting. Where do you think they go, and how dangerous you think they're going to be for the long term?
Well, they're dangerous. They broke all sorts of records offensively. So, it's a really good team. I think that the Boston series maybe – they swung the bats well, but it kind of the slate gets wiped clean once you go into a playoff game. You both have an off day and then a workout day, so you probably a better question for them how they felt coming into it. But they got us on the run early and had 2 innings where they put up crooked numbers.
We'll take one last one to your left, Bob.
Bob, as you were saying, it's probably hard to really assess the whole season right now, but what would your message be to your players just about the whole year?
Well, real briefly, before I had to come in here, I told them, all in all, it was a great season. I was proud of them, and hopefully this is just a start for us. So, we feel like with the group that we have here together that we're going to get better each and every year, and unfortunately it's disappointing right now, but to keep their heads up.